when I see predictability and habit and similarity, I'm always wondering what is hidden underneath. And this is John O'Donohue saying it. It's one of the quotes that I like so much. Because, and I would like to go backwards here. I often hear from parents saying that their child is so stubborn and they only want to have it their way. And they won't agree to, I don't know, eating something or to taking a bath or to sleeping and the question that I'm always asking is, how much control does the kid have in their life? Because whenever they become like that, it's about control and the sense of control that the kid is trying to gain unconsciously most of the time. They don't even realize, but they try to get it as often as they can. And what it's going on actually is that they don't have enough predictability or enough control, let's say, enough routine, enough. So I'm saying, let's go backwards. Because then when you, as an adult, are highly predictable, where you go only after habit, like you follow your habits, or everything you do is just the same, then there is a question mark there. What stops you from allowing yourself to get loose, let's say, or what stops you from allowing yourself to flow a little?
Fear. I felt like, Anka, you were asking me this question, you know, as we're having an interview and you're asking me this question. So my birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I always like to reflect when I've spent another year on this earth. And what I've been working a lot with last year is the topic of trust. And I realized that the reason, so I love routine. I love predictability and routine and structure, and I'm very hands-on. And over the past year, I realized that one of the reasons I do like all these, you know, aspects of routine and structure and predictability and doing things hands-on is because I don't trust that they will happen otherwise, or that they will happen the way I want them to be. Now that beckons, well, okay, so what? Then it would not be safe. I fear because I have no idea what that means. I don't know what the outcome could be. It's nothing that I can control, and life will not be what I expect it to be. So that would be very chaotic for me. So it's really interesting because this is something that I've worked through in so many different ways over the years, and now it's showing up in a different way with the topic of trust. And for me, this is how I would see that, you know, that discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for sharing and for being so open. Yeah, trust, that is, you went from fear to trust, and that was so powerful to me. I also resonated. And then I went further, like in trust life, right? When you say trust, then the first question is trust whom? But maybe the question is trust what? So to trust that whatever you need to happen is going to happen. So to trust life. But when do we lose that trust? It's when and I'm going here with what Gabor Mate says, you know, trauma is not just happens to you, but it's also the things that should have happened and don't.
Yeah.
It's all the needs that we had and were not met. And then we start losing trust in life, actually. And it's like there's no one else on the other side. So I need to only trust myself and to do things on my own and to do things for myself and by myself, and then it's hard to ask for help, as I know it very well, or it's hard to, I don't know, to open up, it's hard to share, it's hard to, and there's a whole process there. So yeah, I can also relate to what you shared.
And, you know, also with speaking about, you know, predictability and routine, it also reminds me of standardization. And we spoke about this in a different episode, where if something is predictable, so if, you know, all the kids in a certain home behave the same way, or all the kids in a class behave the same way, or, so I understand that there are cultural and societal ways of being where people from a certain culture can have certain norms and certain ways of being, but on an individual level, there would be differences. And on an individual level, there would be differences in demeanor, differences in personality, and the energy and all of it. And when there isn't, then it does question, you know, and it questions why. Is it to remain, how do you say, I wouldn't say it's flow, but to not have a say, to not have, to not be able to question, to not be able to have certain independence. I don't know if what I'm saying, if I'm able to explain it. So a mother would always say, you know, parents would always say, I want my child to be independent. I want my child to grow up and, you know, be responsible and be able to do their chores and so on. And then growing up in the house, you'd ask, you know, what responsibility do they have now? No, you know, I have very strict rules and they have to follow the rules and they have to do. Well, how is a child expected to grow learning independence if they cannot, in their home growing up, be able to try it out and to test it and to experience what this independence is like? If they need to eat at a certain time and eat certain foods and put on their jacket even if they're not cold, and so many rules, then how can they have this independence when they go out into the world and they're not, you know, cared for by the parent in that way as a child? You know
what I'm thinking now is that actually it's the unpredictability that brings parents to a new way of thinking, or let's say to us, or to talking, or to looking for something different, because it's always that unpredictable child, the child that you cannot control, the child where you feel that it's too much and you are overwhelmed, and that's the child that has you actually moving forward, right? And I'm also thinking of you know how, or I don't know if you do that, but I do it whenever there's a fight or tension, or then I start cleaning up. And we do that. We start putting order in our lives in the best way we can, especially when we lose control. Like when there's this fight or when there's something that I cannot control, then I immediately start tidying up. And I clean the room, and now I see that, and I observe myself, and I stop myself if need be. But that's our way of responding to unpredictability with predictability, with something that keeps us in the normal.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's how I made sense of that when I put so much structure in life, and I put so much, you know, routine and structure, and I want things in a certain way, it's to put structure to something that doesn't have structure, to have that safety, to have that predictability. Yeah.